Hello everyone, welcome to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle. I have been playing with ChatGPT and working on the last 5 years of my rental properties from the profit and loss statements that I've been getting from my property management company. Well, ChatGPT put them all the raw data from the last 5 years into one Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to upload that one Excel spreadsheet and see what ChatGPT can do with that, because what I'm asking ChatGPT for are an annual income, expenses, and net profit by property, multi-year trends and charts, the ROI rankings, maintenance cost rankings, vacancy and turnover indicators, and a recommend, sell, hold, or buy more like this score for every property. Let's get into it and let's see how long it takes ChatGPT to run through this. The first time that I did this, it took less than 5 minutes for ChatGPT to run through 5 years of PDFs with all my properties listed with all the maintenance, the income, and the expenses. And what I love about this is we get to watch how ChatGPT thinks. ChatGPT also is writing software in real time to parse all this data and to read it and to put it together in a workbook that I can use. What this is doing is it's telling me which of my properties are profitable, which ones are not profitable, which ones I should consider selling, and which ones I should buy more like. So if a property has made money, now keep in mind what this doesn't have in it is the amount of property taxes, the amount of mortgages, and the insurance costs. So what it'll show me is how much net profit I have made over the last 5 years, but I would have to manually deduct all of that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go into my tax returns and block out and redact any personal information from my tax returns before I upload it to ChatGPT. But I want to upload the last 5 years of my tax returns, the Schedule E part, with the rental properties, because that has the insurance deductions, that has property taxes, that has depreciation on all the properties. So that should give me a much better answer as to which properties are costing me more money in maintenance, which properties I should get rid of, and which properties I should keep. But this first run blew me away. It showed me that I'm becoming more and more profitable every year. And the maintenance cost, while it goes up and down, has not gone up with my profitability. So I'm becoming more and more profitable each year. This is still working. We can see all of the thinking that ChatGPT is doing. And that's why I wanted to record this. I wanted you to see what I saw. I have never used ChatGPT to this degree. And it has blown me away with the amount of detail that it gave me in the first spreadsheet, which I'm going to save. But because it does not have all the data in the spreadsheet, it's just a general idea. Now, one of the properties that it suggested that I sell first is a property that I just bought. And of course, that's the property that would lose money because it hasn't been in the portfolio for 3 years or 5 years. Also, I sold a property about 3 years ago. So while that property is in the data for 21, 22, I believe I sold it in 23. It would not be in the data for 24 and 25. So I don't know what it would say about that one property in its ranking, but I was blown away at how accurate this was in telling me I recommend that you keep these properties and I recommend that you get rid of these properties. Now, here's one of the funny things about it. I have some 3 unit properties and some duplexes, and it says I recommend that you get rid of unit 1 but keep unit 2, and you can't do that. You have to sell the whole building. Or it might say keep unit 2 and 3 but get rid of unit 1 in a triplex. And of course, again, I can't do that. So there are some things that it doesn't understand. However, it gave me an overall picture of one, what has been my net income in my rental properties for the last 5 years? What has been my total maintenance cost of the rental properties for the last 5 years? And so this is taking longer this time than it took initially to read the 5 PDFs. But this is the raw data that from the 5 PDFs. Plus, I added in the amount that I bought the properties for and the current appraisal price so that it can give me a more accurate return on investment because it could not do that in the first analysis. Also, when I go back and run this using my tax returns, which I'm really stoked about, I'll probably stay up late tonight. It's already midnight, but I'll probably stay up half the night getting my tax returns ready to feed into ChatGPT because this is so exciting. And as you can see, it took this amount of time. It says 5 minutes and 42 seconds for it to run through 5 years of data on all my rental properties. And what it did was, in the first analysis, it told me how much money was spent on each turnover for each rental property. For example, I had a rental property that had 17 turnovers. That tells me I should sell that property because it's hard to keep it rented. But it also told me how much money I spent on those 17 turnovers. That is some brilliant data. So thank you for watching, and more to come on me getting more insights into my rental properties. And as my friends are recommending to me, which ones should I sell first? Because maybe those are my worst rental properties, but I never would have known without this ChatGPT creating this workbook. Thank you for watching. And remember, never let your past determine your future. Hi everyone, welcome back to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle. This is Editing Ninja Turtle here. I wanted to show you some of the results from the ChatGPT running these trend and reports on my properties and what came out in this report, which I am just astounded. It shows me my net yield on the purchase because what I did was I added the purchase price and the current appraisal price. So let's say I bought some properties in 2021. I added the purchase price when they were bought in 2021, but also their current appraisal price in 2025. So I bought properties in 2021, 2022, and then I did not buy any more properties until 2025. And I bought a bunch of properties in 2025. So what this shows you are some of the properties. It shows not only the net purchase and the net yield based on the appraisal, but it shows the maintenance percentage of the expenses on the properties. It shows the turnover expenses, the percentage of the expenses that were due to turnovers. And as you can see, this one property here, 24% of my maintenance expenses were due to turnover. As I mentioned, it gave a score of which properties I should hold and which ones it recommended that I sell based on all of this criteria. Now, again, this does not take into account the mortgage payment every month. It does not take into account the insurance payment or the property taxes. All of that information will get aggregated in when I put in my Schedule E from my property taxes. Let's look at the portfolio income, expenses, and net income over the years, because this is where I get a lot of insight from the trend report. In 2021, I was losing money. I was hemorrhaging money because the maintenance expenses were more than what I was bringing in net income. And what happened is you have to add on top of those maintenance expenses in 2021, you have to add on top mortgage payments, you have to add on top property taxes, and you have to add on top insurance. So I was totally losing money in my real estate investing in 2021. I was having to feed that from my teaching income. In 2022, I started to become profitable a little bit. You could say that basically in 2022, I was just breaking even, really, because when you add in the mortgage payments, the insurance, and the property taxes, 2022 was basically breaking even. And the same with 2023. So all of 2022, I was struggling. I was just barely breaking even. It wasn't until 2023 and 2024 that my maintenance expenses started to go down. However, as you can see, they're starting to creep up in 2025 again. But also in 2025, I bought more properties. So what I did was I had more properties, which increased the net income. And now it's more profitable on a regular basis. So we'll just say each month, maybe I make $1,000 a month as opposed to losing $1,000 a month, which is what I was doing in 2022 and losing much more in 2021. But I had fewer properties in 2021, so I wasn't losing as much money. Now that I have more properties that I bought in 2025, I'm starting to become profitable just by the sheer number of properties. So I'm going to keep watching this trend in future years, and I'm also going to see what properties should be sold. I can't sell properties individually because I have them in portfolio loans. Like, let's say I have one loan that has 5 properties. I have to get that one bad property out of that 5 property loan before I can sell it. But I think that this may be my future indicator of which properties to really keep an eye on. Thank you for watching this Editing Daryl, and thank you for looking at the results of what ChatGPT gave me. In my next video, I'm going to show you uploading my Schedule E from my income taxes, and then we'll see what the results are from ChatGPT with that.